The time has come. It is time to remake Asmongold's $2 steak. But as we learned from his video, he gets 4 steaks for $7. Well, this was back in October, I believe. So at that point, that's less than $2 a steak. Now, I called my butcher that I go to and I sent them the Asmongold video and I said, watch this. Number one, just because they should watch it, because it's hilarious. But number two, I wanted to find out what steak it actually is, because it's really kind of hard to tell judging by the video. They came up with bottom round steak, which today costs $5.99 a pound. I couldn't get like just some super thin strips. They didn't have that available when I went, but they did have just a thicker one that we are going to stick into a plastic bag and hammer the shit out of to make really thin steaks. So trying to get as close as possible to his $2 steak. A couple things in the beginning, he used salt lick steak seasoning. I couldn't get that, so I'm using Blues Hog sweet and savory. My lemon pepper, and I've got the expensive shit, the Lee & Perrins Worcestershire. What goes good with any steak? He is right, it's a titer. He just stabbed the shit out. Oh, it's spraying all over my face. This is a juicy potato. Oh yeah, now he only stabbed one side of it. We'll call that good, but let's go to the microwave. A cool 8 minutes. Time cook, 8:00, start. Okay, we've got our potato in for the 8 minutes. I'm gonna do his steak exactly like he did it, and then I'm going to do the same steak, but maybe a different way to see how I would do this if this were my steak. Let's show you the steak. Let's see how we're gonna do this. Here we go. Boom, there it is, the bottom round steak. So you can see much thicker than the ones he was using. So what we're going to do, we're gonna take it and put it into a plastic bag just so we don't spray beef juice all over my kitchen. And we're gonna take our medieval meat hammer. Yeah, you could do some damage with that. Let's get this as flat as we can get it. Ready? Oh yeah, that hammered it down quite a bit, and then we're still kind of thick there, so see what I mean? There's just not a lot of fat within this steak to really pull that muscle apart, you know? Now I can definitely get 2 steaks out of that. So we're a little over our budget of a little less than $2. We're just gonna cut this right in half, and so this will give us $2.55 per steak. So with inflation since October, I think we're right on. Not as wide as his steak, but also longer. So we're pretty much playing, we're pretty much on course for what he was doing. Now, oh wait, he didn't use tongs. I gotta get a fork. All right, let me get my seasonings. Oh shit, I'm all stressed out now. Now he put butter in the pan, that's right. See, I'm all stressed out, just like he was. Cut it with the fork, so. I don't know how much he used. I'm gonna go that much, about a tablespoon. I cook many a steak with butter, so I love to use butter. Butter and beef just go well together. I mean, you just say it, butter beef. Butter beef. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a milk steak or nothing, but butter beef. Potatoes done. Oh yeah. Nice and shriveled. Oh shit, it's hot. Oh yeah, nice and shriveled. That's hot. I'm gonna put it back in the microwave so it stays boiling lava hot. He puts it in the pan. Okay, now, he did not season it before he put it in, but he usually does, but I'm going by the video, so he does the steak seasoning. Whoop, I probably used too much there. He does the lemon pep. Oh, you gotta shake it. Flip it and rub it around and have yourself a good time in all the sauces. Now, I've got a decent little sear on there. Now, he does cook his steak well done. This is a super thin steak, so this is pretty much done for me already, but I'm gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go. We're just having a good old time with our sauces here. And he's not wrong. Anytime I cook a steak, you want to lift the steak up, let the juices run under it. Yep, exactly like that. I'm not opposed to this. I think this is gonna taste good. Yeah, that's a good ass looking steak right there. Ooh, baby. Now that is emanating power from its edges. There's the steak. Here is our shriveled, stabbed potato. There it is. Now, I forgot to push record, but here's the potato. And I murdered the inside of it because that's how I do the potato before I add butter. He didn't add butter though. At least from what I watched again, I didn't see him put butter in his potato. It is cooked through. It is done. I mean, yeah, that's a good, as he says, a good ass potato. Here's the steak. We'll just cut into it. It is absolutely well done, just how he wants it. And yeah, I think the steak actually has a decent appearance. I mean, I got a decent char on it, which if you watch any of my videos, you know that char is actually flavor, not burnt. Got a nice color to it. This end looks like it's going to taste better than this end because this end doesn't have any fat in it. So here we are. Oh boy, that's a dry steak. Okay, that was really dry. Maybe if his are thinner and that there might be a little easier to eat. The flavor's there, flavor's not bad. Heavy Worcestershire. I don't really taste the lemon pepper, but I can kind of see that it's brightening it up, you know? And my steak seasoning is really good. I'm sure anything from Salt, like I've heard, is amazing. So, I can't, oh boy. All right, now I'm gonna try this little fatty end. Now this end is a little thinner. Okay, better flavor because of the fat. Still dry as can be. Not as dry as the other side. Much better on the fatty side. Wow, that's still really dry though. Now before I go into cooking how I would cook this steak, I just want to say that if you like your steaks a certain way, there is nothing wrong with that. And if anybody tells you that there is rules to cooking, turn and run away from that person because you will not learn a thing from them, okay? They are set in their ways and they can't be helped. No matter if they're a real chef or a home chef, even though home chefs don't exist, don't get me started, that's a topic for a whole nother conversation. But just turn and run from them and cook your steak how you want to. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't better ways. And of course there's better steaks, but like he said, he doesn't want to like the good steaks. He likes these steaks, and I'm cool with that because that's what he likes. So, all right, let me see if the way I prepare my steak will be a little bit less on the dry side. I'm gonna add a little bit more fat to the steak, and I'm using Truff's black truffle infused truffle oil. Truffle. Just a dab will do us, and then we're gonna take our brush. And this is gonna kind of act like adding more fat, but also as a binder so that our seasonings adhere to it. Plus truffle is, I always say, add more salt to your steak than you think you need because you're going to be losing a lot of salt as soon as the steak hits the pan. And that's it, we're just doing the truffle oil and the salt. Okay, there's our salted steak with the truffle oil. There we go. Now I'm also gonna have some fresh garlic cloves, 2 of them to be exact. I'm just gonna smash them between my fingers. Now I'm also gonna roll with 3 tablespoons of butter, and you'll see why. Okay, here we go. I think our pan is hot enough here. I've got a spoon, I've got my butter, I've got my garlic, I've got my steak. Oh yeah. So, as soon as it hits the pan, hopefully this comes out with a little bit more juice. The flavor was good. Like I said, the flavor was good. Okay, that is good. It's been about 25 seconds. We're going to add the butter to the pan, add the garlic to the pan, get some of that butter underneath the steak, and flip it to the other side. And now we're just going to add a touch of the Worcestershire, tilt our pan forward, and baste with the garlicky, salty butter. Look at that butter just, it's like being dammed up. That's lovely. Searing that side. Let's move it. Same thing. We're done. Now, the most important thing for any steak, whether it's a cheap steak or an expensive steak, is you want to let it rest before you cut into it. See all these juices? That is steak juice, and that is good, and you want all that juice to soak back into the steak. If you cut in too early, you'll see it just kind of bleed out, even though it's not blood. You're losing so much flavor when you do that. Now, a steak this thick, we don't need to do much. We don't need to do very long. We're talking 2 minutes tops. Now, we're not medium rare or anything, but we're definitely much more evenly cooked throughout without being gray in the middle. A lot of nice juice in here. I can tell you without even tasting this, this is going to be nowhere near as dry as the, the one that I made. And maybe the way he makes his steaks aren't dry either. So let's give this a try. Let's try both sides like we did before. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Now, like I said before, not a super fatty steak, so it's still gonna have that kind of like dryness to it, but this time there's a lot of juice in there too. If that makes any sense at all, I hope it does. To me, if I was gonna make this steak, this is pretty much how I would do it. The garlic, the butter, the truffle just barely shines through just to give it kind of an added little pop of flavor, which is quite nice. And the salt, like without salt and steak seasoning does have a lot of salt in it, but there's something special about just coarse kosher salt or flake salt. It's just goes further with meat, in my opinion, and it brings out the true flavor of the beef. Here we go, let's try the fatty side. Okay, that's much more of that flavor you expect from a really good steak. The fat just totally takes that beefiness that this steak kind of really has. Let's reiterate, $5.49 or $5.39, I can't remember what I paid for that bigger steak. Smashed it into a thinner one, cut it into 2 longer steaks, so $2.50 per steak. So I'm a little over, but I'm still close. Still close. We'll call that good with all the inflation that's been happening. His steak wasn't bad. I mean, I don't know. If he likes it, who cares? Like, go make your steak your way. That's all I gotta say. I hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed trying to recreate his steak. As always, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.